I saw this lady at the store, and she was always following these the aisles that are in the back against the walls, and she wasn't going down the main aisles at all. I didn't notice that until I kept bumping into her. It just so happened she was in the same area that I needed to look for things. But I kind of was watching her for a little bit, and she was, I don't know, I think she was kind of like a little bit apprehensive, like she didn't want people looking at her. And I was like, I wonder why. She's a pretty lady. She turned back and she came around the corner and she almost bumped into my cart. So I said, "Oh, I'm sorry," I said, and I smiled at her. Just wanted her to know, she's cool with me. And then, "Oh, that's okay," she said. And then she continued, staying in the background like that. So I was wondering, no, what's wrong? I kept bumping into her. So every time I would bump into her, I would look at her a little bit more, yeah, to see if, just what is it that, what is it that could be the problem. And it turned out that she's um, one of those kind of people who's and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, okay? She's was born with one of her hands is basically beginning at her shoulder. Yeah, there's no arm, there's no elbow, there's no forearm. Yeah, and it's like the hand is right up there. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I bet she feels. Well, I guess I probably would too, But so so I was more than ever. I was trying to whenever she came around me, I just tried to make it look like, hey, you're cool, don't worry about it, you're cool. And so I was putting myself in her place. Yeah. See, that's what we gotta learn how to do sometimes is put ourselves in their shoes and how would you act if you were that way, you know? And it doesn't mean they're any less of a person than the rest of us. They just have to do things differently. Yeah. And I don't have that kind of handicap, but back in 2012, I got this illness. It's the kind of illness that it's an ear infection, and it's a way in the deep inner ear where there's some little tiny mechanisms that have to do with your balance. So like when you turn your head, you don't get dizzy. Because if you didn't have those things in your ears, and if you turned your head, you're gonna you're gonna really get dizzy. If you stand up, you're gonna get dizzy. Yeah, even if you barely move your head a little bit, you're gonna get dizzy. So you need these things in your ears. They help you to keep balance. So that's why when babies are first born, see theirs is not developed, so that as they're learning how to sit up and crawl, this thing in their ear is developing. It's developing balance so that eventually it can stand up and start walking. Yeah. So that's why when you see newborns and they're sitting, they have their heads kind of moving certain ways because they're learning. Yeah, they're learning to balance, and that's the working of that inner ear that's developing. Now you can get an illness in that part of the ear where this goes out. It totally goes out, and when that happens, it's awful. It's like you're in an earthquake. You just barely tilt your head, and the whole room is spinning and spinning and spinning. Yeah, when this happened to me, it was in November, towards the end of November, and boy, I was just throwing up like crazy. At first, I thought it was a stomach flu, but it turned out, because I told some doctors, and they said, "Well, geez, when this happened to you, you said you got dizzy first, and stomach flu doesn't do that." So then they were thinking it's the inner ear, and sure enough, it was. Yeah. So when you get like that, it's different for everybody. In my case, it was severe. Yeah, even now, it's like 2 years later, and even now, I'm not 100%. Yeah, I can walk, I can run. Yeah, but I don't trust myself in driving a car yet because I don't think I'm going to react fast enough. I've ridden a bike. Yeah, I've ridden the bike, and some people said, "Hey, what circus are you from?" They thought I was a clown, and I must have been not dressed too good when they asked me that question. You know, what circus do you come from? uh, shoot. Let me start that again. I was riding a bike, and one of my friends got a fancy schmancy bike, and she said, "Hey, want to check it out? Let's go to the park." So I said, "All right." So we went to this park where there was nobody, and it was wide open space, and it was kind of a road going down. So she said, "What you want to take? You want to try it down there?" I said, "Okay." And I said, "Mind you, I haven't ridden a bike since I was a teenager, and so we're talking quite some years, yeah." So, people always say when you never forget once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget it. And so I was counting on that, yeah. But one thing I noticed is I have a hell of a time turning right. Yeah, that my mind says turn right, David, and I answer myself and say okay, but my muscles don't want to turn right away. There's a pause, yeah, and then I turn. Shit, by that time I about ran into a tree, yeah, and I was like, this is not good. So I was thinking, just imagine driving, yeah, that's gonna be the same situation. So that's why I don't want to drive because of that. So I'm not 100%, but like I said, I can walk, no problem. I can run, yeah. And there's just you can tell there's something not 100% yet, yeah. And so I'm still training the that part to one day hopefully regain full balance again. I mean, I'm like 99%, but I never can get 100. Do you see what I mean? I'm always stuck at 99%, and I just cannot swing it to 100. Yeah, it really irks me sometimes. Most of the time, I don't even care. Yeah, it doesn't even bother me. But when I think about it, some like when I get up too fast, and I think, hey, man, I never was this way. Yeah. The funny thing is, like these office chairs that swivel round and round and round and round. Before I got this illness, I couldn't even do that. Swivel around because I get just dizzy. Yeah. Now I can. I can get on. See, I have an office chair. I'm sitting on one right now. I can swivel around fast and go around, 10, 12 times and not even get dizzy. I don't know why. Because before I got this illness, I couldn't do that. Yeah, I just do it one time, like, oh, Jesus, But now I don't even get dizzy, but at the same time, I still am not 100%. So, this is, I think about that now, always mindful, when I see people, walking around like nothing, and I think to myself, man, they're so lucky they didn't go through what I went through, because I don't have it back yet. Yeah, I'm not 100% yet. I'm 99%, but I'm not 100. I can do everything that I could have that I did before. Yeah, I can jump, I can dance, and all kinds of goofy things, and but I'm just not 100%. It's so strange. Yeah, it's so strange. So it's just that I got used to it. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm not saying I'm handicapped. I'm just saying that because of that illness, I don't take things for granted anymore. Yeah. So then when I see somebody who is handicapped, I'm like, hey, you're cool. Yeah. You just do things differently. Yeah. It doesn't make you less. You just have to do things differently. You just have to adapt accordingly. That's how it was for me too. I had to take a shower a different way because before I would, I even after the illness, I had to balance a certain way because otherwise I don't want to get dizzy. Yeah. So I had to balance myself a certain way, and now I'm always doing that. I don't even think I need to do that, but it's a habit now. Yeah. Shoot, yeah, I'm standing there one foot behind my ear and leaning against the wall, and that takes care of it. Yeah. Shit, not that cool. Oh man. But anyway, all I'm saying is when you see somebody who's sick, be mindful to them. Yeah. Don't pity them, but be mindful to them and just make them feel cool. That so what if they have maybe they look a certain way or they talk a certain way or what, and it doesn't matter. Um, I think you just you know be happy for them. Yeah, smile at them. If they need help with something, help them with it. They're gonna like that. Yeah. One thing um, I always enjoy seeing is these groups of. Sometimes at the store and see a group of young people, like you could tell they're from a home, special education kind of people. Long time ago we used to say retarded. Yeah, these are mentally handicapped people, and I really get a kick out of them because they're honest. Yeah, they're honest. They're down to earth, and and I really it's just so cool. Yeah, I like the way they are, and I really think we can learn from them how to treat one another as human beings. They don't see skin color. They don't give a shit what you look like. Yeah. Like this last time I experienced a group like that, and it was at a store, and somebody, it was one of them. One of them were having a birthday party, so they were coming through the store getting birthday goods, and here they were gonna get some cola. And that one guy was probably about like 24 years old, and he's kind of like 13, yeah. So the chaperone, he said, "Okay, let's get some Coke." All right, he said. The other guy said, so they got a 6-pack. Oh no, they got a case of Coke, real Coke, yeah, and normal Coca-Cola. So they're walking away, and the guy who's mentally handicapped, his face kind of changed expression. Yeah, so the chaperone said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, normally, Bob, that's not the kind of Coke that we get," he said. so, so then Bob said, "Well, what kind of Coke do you guys get?" And then he said, "Well, I'll show you." So they went and he said, "Here it was a really cheap flavor, cheap brand of cola, yeah, but he wanted that. The chaperone was going to buy him the real thing, which in my mind is the best. But no, this guy wanted to get the cheap version. I forgot what it's called. I forgot the brand anyway. Um, so, so Bob said, "Okay, well, we'll get a case of that." "All right," the other guy said. It's just cool, yeah, just honest and no deception. Yeah, these people were letting each other know and say, "Yeah, so and so, we're gonna have a really good birthday party." They were talking like it just made me want to go to the party. Yeah. Can I come? I was gonna say.